Hi everyone, this is Pico Entertainment and we're back again, and here now we have another video for you, and this will be a quick look and review of the second trailer for The Witcher Season 2. Now, just in case anybody who doesn't know what this is, The Witcher is of course the Netflix adaptation of the fantasy novel series by Andrzej Sapkowski. Season 1 debuted way back now, it seems, in 2019, to which I liked very much and proved to be very popular amongst both fans and general audiences. Now, I did do a review of the first trailer of Season 2 and you can check that out within the channel, and overall I thought it was very impressive, very large scale. It certainly seems that they want to be a bit more expansive into this whole world that we were immersed in this first season. And I have to say, when looking at this second trailer, they've made it even more epic this time round. It's very heavy in terms of the action and the spectacle. It was accompanied much more this time by this really kind of rocking grunge soundtrack, and I think overall it was very intentional by the showrunners to really make this second season feel as if it's something truly spectacular, truly big, truly epic. And I think for the most part this trailer did that as well, even more so than the first trailer did. Everything just looks very exciting and even more intense. We have lots of fight scenes, big battles, and it even seems there's been a big improvement in terms of the CGI as throughout the multiple scenes that we see throughout this trailer. Now, I thought the effects in the first season were good enough, but there were some times where you can see, there were a few lapses in terms of the quality, in terms of the rendering. So it looks like they've been a major step up here this time round, and it's very good to see all on the screen. Now, like the first trailer, this wasn't very clear in terms of a specific story, but in general we know the main narrative is going to be basically Geralt protecting Ciri, training her as per his role as his destiny, as what was established throughout Season 1. We have early scenes where we see them coming across other witches, giving that indication that they're very much of a dying breed. We have that great shot where we see them assembling together and we see their eyes darkening. That's a key characteristic of The Witcher. We open that scene with Geralt as well in the opening parts of this trailer. And I'm pretty much sure we'll get some reference to the recent Netflix animated Witcher movie as well, which was much more of an origin story. Basically, we see how the witches are created, and at the end of that movie, without spoiling it too much, it just draws hints as to how the current generation of witches came to pass. And speaking of Geralt again, he was very much the focus of this trailer this time round. Again, as with the first trailer, Henry Cavill looks simply fantastic in the role. Completely convincing in terms of a pure physical embodiment of the character. We have all of those great shots where we see him taking on this female, maybe she's a demon or a vampire, and she's shouting or screaming. It's almost like this sonic boom energy, and it's blocking it off. Great visual shot on here. We had another fantastic sequence where we see him fighting off all of these other soldiers in the mansion. Great choreography. That was a standout element, particularly of the first season. And again, Henry Cavill, he did a lot of the stunt work, so he looks completely convincing in these fight scenes. We had another fantastic shot where he's fighting this tree monster, again protecting Ciri as he's snapping off all of the branches. Yes, it does remind you particularly of Treebeard, as what we saw from Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, but it still looks fantastic. Henry Cavill really is the star attraction of the show, and I just think he plays Geralt with very much of a deadpan, very much of a sarcastic kind of manner about him. As what was hinted in the Season 1 finale, I'm pretty much sure we'll get much more depth into his backstory regarding his mother. If you remember, at the end of that finale we saw some sort of flashbacks demon into his overall history as well, so I'm sure they will expand that overall. But I think Cavill is just great in the role, and he's proven very much to be a standout element throughout this trailer that we see as well. We had some other fantastic effect shots, particularly where we see Geralt fighting off this man bat again. Great sequence. I probably imagine that's in the opening part of the series, but we will wait and see. We had another visually striking sequence where we see this priest commanding this flame-like creature. So fantastic effects overall. Again, just showing the bump up in quality. Towards the end of the trailer, we saw Yennefer returning, of course, and it seems that she's going to go through some more very intense experiences, again as what we saw a lot in the first season, as we were seeing the evolution and the overall manifestation of her powers, which came to fruition very much in the Season 1 finale, when she took center stage in very much taking out all of those multiple soldiers, and we saw a great glimpse to how powerful she truly is. So I'm pretty much sure we're going to get a further development of Yennefer's powers throughout the second season, and it certainly seems that we'll finally see both Yennefer and Ciri meeting up for the first time. We have that shot of them riding together on horseback, so it'll be very interesting to see when Yennefer comes into contact again with Geralt. Will they build on a much more of a casual romance that I would say that we saw them in without season 1, or will they just forget about that and focus much more on building the connection between Geralt and Ciri? But as I mentioned in my first trailer review of the second season, all 3 actors, Henry Cavill, Anna Shatora and Freya Allan, are fantastic in the lead roles, so no doubts in terms of their overall performances. And as with Yennefer, I'm pretty much sure we're going to see a further progression of Ciri in terms of her abilities. That was very much the driving force behind the whole narrative of the Witcher story. In many ways, she's very much of a pivotal character. So as well as seeing her powers continue to develop, we're also going to see her develop some skills in terms of fighting, where we see the earlier shots of Geralt handing her the sword, and she's going to learn how to protect herself a lot more as well. So overall, this trailer, it was fantastic, just very spectacular, very epic, and as usual, many will draw the Game of Thrones comparisons, but as I've said through multiple coverage of this show, I think it's just much more of a fantastical kind of story. I don't think there's as much politicizing as what we saw with Game of Thrones. This is going to be much more of a supernatural, focusing a lot more on the horror elements. If they can hit the ball running and really cement the quality with season 2 and also with season 3, for which the show has also been renewed for, then I think The Witcher could be an outstanding fantasy series and very much fill the void that was left by Game of Thrones, giving us that big budget sword and sorcery fantasy series that I love the genre so much, and I think we do deserve to see as general viewers. As long as they can sort out the narrative and storytelling this time round, just make it much more streamlined. There's no need for all that back and forth jumping around in terms of the timeline that we saw from the first season, and I think overall that was probably the only weak spot of season 1. So if they can just make more of a linear structured storytelling and just ramp it up in terms of the visuals and the action, which it certainly seems like they're definitely going to do this time round, then I think season 2 could be a real winner and cement Witcher as a truly outstanding series within television. So those are my overall thoughts and review of The Witcher season 2 trailer. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Do you think it will be a step up from season 1? Do you think if they can hit the quality this time round and season 3, can it indeed reach the same level of impact as what we saw with Game of Thrones? How do you think Henry Cavill is within the role of Geralt? Do you think he will be very much centered this time round, or do you believe in a certain speculation that he will take a backseat and we will get a lot more focus on Ciri and Yennefer? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please also hit and like the subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves, stay at safe distances, and I will see you very, very soon.